Glad to have you join us on another exciting episode of Arise Africa. I'm Temia Akwirene, and by my side is
Chichi Mwabo.
Well, Chichi, if you interrupt me again,
I was actually going to say it's great to be here today for another interesting episode on Arise Africa and the African Broadcasting Network. Did I repeat what you just said?
No, you were repeating it. Actually, you interrupted me, and I don't like being interrupted. Well, that's by the way. So, Chichi, what do we have today? We have lots of packages, lined up for our viewers out there.
Oh, yes. One very interesting thing about Arise Africa is that the program is all about Africa. There's always a tiny part that we bring to you on this program, talking about African proverbs. Yes, I guess you don't know the importance of African proverbs, or do you?
Yes, I do, if you were asking me, but I suppose you were asking them and not me. But I know the importance of African proverbs.
Oh, yes, and of course, we also have the celebrity spotlight.
Yes, and today we are going to be beaming our lights on. All right, Chichi.
You know the answer. We'll let the cat out of the bag, not now, but you get to find out much later.
So, without wasting much time, let's move to African proverbs. Yes, African proverbs. We'll be right back in a moment.
Hello, welcome back from African Proverbs segment of this program, Arise Africa. Yes.
And very soon we'll soon start taking maybe answers from people as pertaining to the meaning of the proverbs. Anyway, we do give them the meaning, so it will be meaningless asking them to give us the meaning, except they can interpret another meaning from the one we actually give.
They could give us more African proverbs. They could send it to our
yes, that's true. I think if you have an African proverb, send it to social media handles that will be showing on the screen. We need more. We want to know more, especially from the other parts of Africa, Zambia, Angola, wherever you're watching from. We want to get more African proverbs that we can give to you. Definitely. And also want to know more for ourselves.
Yes. Well, moving on now on the program Arise Africa, we'll be going straight to the streets. I mean, that's what's up next, and we're going to be finding out how aware people are of their environment. Yes. And afterwards, we'll have a specialist, an environmental specialist.
Environmental expert, yes. I'll be discussing about environmental awareness. Definitely. Here in the studios, a young man, I won't tell you his name yet, he'll be coming soon. But we'll go into the streets first and hear from people how they aware of their environment, how they dispose their refuse and stuff like that. While we go on the streets, I will be here with Chichi asking her how she does hers. I hope she's not one of those that will be erring, that's doing things.
And I will ask you as well how you do yours.
We'll be right back in a moment. Stay tuned.
The easier way to dispose your refuse is by burning. So you don't have any pit to throw it in, you can just gather it and burn it and set it on fire.
So how do you yourself?
I do use that method too at home. Burning.
You think it's advisable?
Yeah.
How do you think people in our environment should also take care of their refuse? How do you think they should dump their refuse?
Okay, their refuse, they're dumping in the dustbin.
Okay.
They used to dump in the dustbin. People that pack the dirty, they used to come and carry it. And dump it there, they carry it.
The best way of disposing refuse is one of these trucks that the Delta State government provided. I think not only the Delta State government, just Sopwadec, it comes every now and then, so it's good for you to just park it in a neat place. Then when they come, you dispose of it.
So personally, how do you?
That's what I do.
That's what I do.
Yes.
All right.
It's still Arise Africa, and I have a guest with me in the studios by the name Ted Emecho. Ted Emecho is an environmental expert, and yes, we're going to be talking about environmental awareness today. Mr. Ted, nice to have you in the studio.
Yeah, Mr. Temi, thank you very much for the invitation.
Okay. First up, I would like to ask a question that maybe the layman out there would ask. what is environmental awareness? Because it's something that for the past a decade or so, it has been something that keeps popping up. Environmental awareness, be aware of the environment, take care of it. So to the layman, what is environmental awareness?
Well, awareness and environment, they are two different words put together. Well, before we begin to say awareness about a particular subject matter, I think we should talk about that subject, environment. But a brief one, the environment is our immediate surrounding. In fact, it is a natural setup where we are today. The sun, the moon, the land, the water we see, everything, the living and the non-living things. You understand? That is the environment for us, yeah. But talking about environmental awareness, awareness itself is having knowledge on a particular subject. And being the subject matter environment, environmental awareness is having knowledge about the environment.
Okay, so having knowledge about the environment and what you do about it, I guess, or I suppose.
What you do, what the environment is all about.
Okay.
What's the relationship amongst the living and the
non-living things.
Yeah, it's all about. Yeah,
Okay.
so these are the things we need to know when we talk about, or we need to spread out when we talk about environmental awareness. Because most people don't really know what environmental awareness is, or they don't even know what the environment is. So
Yes.
I think
Now, the environment we live in today, we have people that are so careless in terms of how they dump their refuse, in terms of when they build the industries, we have the factories around us, they dump waste indiscriminately. They don't even care. You see a factory just directly connecting a waste pipe straight into a river, disposing refuse. And even these environmental protection agencies, they are not really doing their job properly to regulate it, because at the end of the day, the ecosystem suffers. So how do we curb things like this in our communities, within the industries, and as individuals? How do we curb it?
all right. With all you just said, I could just classify the indiscriminate dumping of waste, pollution, into one single thing, which is environmental degradation. You understand? And for me, I think curbing these problems in our society it begins from creating environmental awareness. Because even if I have all the money to clean up Warri, for example, and then I end up doing them today and then leaving it for tomorrow, what happens if the means is no longer there to clean up Warri? That means the moment I stop cleaning, the indiscriminate dumping continues.
Yes.
Yeah, but when you clean and then you create awareness, you impact the knowledge on the need for environmental cleanliness. But yeah, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah, so you clean and then you educate the people. In so doing, you can maintain whatever objective you try to obtain.
All right, we are still talking with Ted Emecho, but we are going to be going on a short break. When we return, Ted Emecho is going to be telling us about his personal project. He does some personal projects as pertain to environmental awareness and what have you. He's an expert in the area. And also, we are still going to be asking one or two more questions bordering on the environment, what we should and shouldn't do. Arise Africa will be back in a short moment. Stay tuned.
African Broadcasting Network.
Glad to have you back. It's still Arise Africa, and it's the interview segment with Ted Emecho in the studios. Ted Emecho is an environmental expert, and we are still talking about environmental awareness. Ted, I have your magazine here with me, Echo G99. Now, the name arouses curiosity. You're going to tell us, it's an environmental magazine, by the way. You're going to tell us what Echo G99, does it have any special meaning, or you just named it Echo G99?
Well, Echo 99 is the original name.
Okay, Echo 99, the G
The
here.
G is just the branding.
Okay,
Yeah, G represents where I work.
okay,
My organization, JobLu Nigeria Limited.
okay.
Just the brand name. Well, we are familiar with the term eco. Eco simply means
Ecosystem.
ecosystem, ecology.
Okay.
Ecology, yeah, ecology, and ecology is the environment.
Yes.
And then over the years, I've noticed magazines naming, and then you begin to find out everybody use words to name their magazine. but I just want to make a magazine with the difference, beginning from the naming. So I thought of incorporating figures to naming the magazine Echo 99. For me, 99 is love.
Okay, I love 99.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit strange, but maybe for an environmentalist, maybe it's not actually strange.
Yeah, it's a personal one though.
Okay.
99. Where I come from, it's not something I could start explaining on TV.
Okay.
But trust me, 99 is love. But what the magazine Echo 99 means, with the brief explanation I just gave, you find out that Echo 99, which is environment and love.
Yeah,
You
okay.
understand?
That's
So it's
like
simply
love your
love
environment. Okay. Before we go into the magazine, briefly tell us about your work you do as an environmental expert, because I know you have you run something as pertaining to making people aware about how they should take care of the environment.
What I've done, I've come to see that we should not just rely on government. So I came up with some unconventional ways which I could use, for example, to create environmental awareness, which I believe creating environmental awareness is actually the startup point for solving environmental problems. So unconventional ways like music and environment, drama and environment, dance and environment. Actually, these things get people attention. When I begin to sing here, you begin to see people wanting to stay and what is happening, because nobody knows what the environment is. So we begin to mix things together to see how we can get people's attention, can get audience, and then we bring in the environmental episodes inside. So here in Warri, we've been able to organize a musical competition, a classical music competition to be specific. Yeah, I chose that kind of music because it has its own uniqueness. You understand? We have so many kinds of music, the jazz music, but I chose classical music, choir music, choral music. You understand? So we used choral music to create environmental awareness in Warri.
I first of all, you said unconventional, and I like that. Now, using music, drama, dance to create awareness about the environment is not something you see every day. It's something different from the norm. How have you the result? How has it been?
Yeah, from the very beginning, it has not been easy, but I tell you, it was successful. Initially, I thought I could do it on my own. Then when I thought about the financial constraints, and then I said, even at that, me myself cannot solve a global problem. So you need to call attention of different NGOs, of concerned individuals, and then the only people I could think of at that time was the church. In fusing music and environment together, you try to encourage them to build up a career in what they love doing.
Okay.
You understand? And at the same time
create environmental awareness. Okay, moving on, because time is not our friend. I would like to. There is a place in the magazine, your magazine, where people give their opinion about what you do. But before we go about that, we went into the street to ask people about how they take care of their environment, how they dispose their refuse, and one of the respondents said that she burns her refuse. She actually gathers them together and burns them. Is that really a proper way? Is that a good way to dispose refuse? And if it's not, what harm does it cause to the environment?
If you look at it from two different sides, I'll actually say it is good and it is bad. Well, there might be other persons that will just take their waste and go dump it elsewhere. But somebody just took it upon herself. Probably she has seen a good reason not to do what the other person is doing, to burn, because it is good to burn waste. You understand? But we do it with caution. There are incinerators. Those are the things we use in burning waste. But in her own way, she has done well. But at the same time, she has done bad. So burning is not good. Burning contributes to the global warming we are complaining about today. You understand? When you burn, it releases carbon into the atmosphere, and when there is excess carbon into the atmosphere, and then with the interaction with other atmospheric components, gases and water vapor, solar radiation keeps on coming in and will not have the opportunity to escape. And then this will lead to what we call the greenhouse effect. So that waste that woman has burnt there has contributed to global warming, the excessive increase of heat in the environment.
Okay.
And you know what heat can do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, let me just take a comment here from your magazine, the response you got. This one is very interesting. It says, it's terrible, but what can one do? It said, there is no law here. Talking about Nigeria, as it is, if you are watching from outside Nigeria. It says, I'm sorry to say, you dare not talk to anyone about cleanliness. What you get is, now in quotes, the person being, where you, now your fatherland. Now, it is pidgin, and it means, is this your father's land? Go to your states, go do busybody. Go to your own states and go claim that you know it all. By this, one is left helpless. But God will help us because He's not pleased with dirty environment. Now, what I'm picking from this is the fact that if you decide to want to tell your neighbor, like encourage your neighbor to do the right thing in this part of the world, you are being seen like you are nosy. So it makes people tend to want to restrict themselves to their own territory because the other person sees you like, what do you know? Why should you tell me how to go about what I do? You see your neighbor maybe burning refuse like the woman we talked about now, or maybe disposing it in a drain that will later clog it, and you're like, no, it's not good, you ought not to do it like this. And the person goes, what's your business? Are you the government? Who are you to tell me where to dispose my refuse? It's a challenge we face in this part of the world.
Yeah, the developing countries, not just Nigeria. The major problem we have in these countries are just poverty and hunger.
I think ignorance may be part of it too.
Yeah, that one is another problem. But somebody's hungry, and then you want to preach. Somebody has not been able to pay hospital bills. Somebody cannot afford children's school fees. So many things because of some economic problems in their societies, and then you want to begin to talk about clean your environment for that particular person. You begin to imagine the response you will get. So that one is one problem our government should try to look at this point in time. But in encouraging your neighbors, it takes time and patience.
Yes, time and patience, definitely.
Yeah, it takes time and patience. You talk to somebody today and the person is actually reluctant. You talk to the person tomorrow. Initially, I mentioned that for you to do a cleanup, you need to what? You need to walk. If you've not done anything on this road, and then you come to tell me to clean it, to take care of it, it won't work. That is one advice I have to give to the government today. That if everybody talks about environment, laws alone would not solve the problem. The government must work, and then the government will give the people a reason to maintain those laws.
All right, Mr. Ted. Now you've heard it. Laws alone will not solve the problem. Laws alone doesn't solve the problem. And if you've spoken with your neighbor before, maybe that one that dumps refuse inside the drain, and he or she rebuffs you, go back again in love and talk to the person. Yeah. But Ted, before you leave the studio, you are going to look straight into the camera and just talk to Africans, talk to the people out there in the world, encourage them on how to dispose refuse properly, how to be aware, how to take care of their environment like their friend. Briefly in a minute.
To the world, you will agree with me that environmental conferences have been held all over the world, even in recent times. But solving environmental problems today actually goes beyond holding conferences. You understand? So I really want to use this medium to encourage everybody, you, your families, your friends, that the environment is our life. It is the only thing that sustains us today. So I think conserving it today is the only option we have. So holding conferences, we should try to see how we bring out those discussions we talk about on debate ground to real life.
That is awesome. Awesome. So you've heard it from the environmental expert. I'm not an expert, but hey, I try to take care of my environment as much as possible. Well, Chichi is already kicking and trying to hit me. So Ted will be excused from the studio, and I'll be bringing Chichi back into the studio. She's already trying to hit my head wherever she is right now because she's like, time. Well, Arise Africa will be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
In case you're just tuning in, this is Arise Africa on the African Broadcasting Network, and you just watched an interview that Timmy had with Ted Emicho. He's an environmental expert, and he talked about some salient issues when it comes to the environment, how to handle refuse all around you, and it's very, very important.
Very important. You know, I can't help but think that it's a collective responsibility, like he said, because most times we neglect everything for the government. Like the government will do this. We should even unconsciously want the government to come and spoon feed us in our houses. And so please don't neglect your environment. Like you've heard it all from Ted.
It's very important to, because this topic is actually inexhaustible, very important to for this message to be carried out, to a lot of people. We take it for granted, and this actually affects our health.
Yes.
At the end of the day, everything we do is refuse. You buy water, it's refuse. You eat this, it's refuse.
In this part of the world, we don't really recycle. It's a key issue.
Oh, yes.
We don't recycle. And so it's, it makes our refuse to, they begin to cause harm to us.
And I think a lot of companies actually could take hold of this opportunity.
Yes.
We don't have a lot of recycling companies
around.
I'm not aware of, very around.
Very
so this
few.
could be an opportunity to set up. We're talking about industries, so there are potentials for making money actually in this.
We could set up one,
We could.
Okay.
I think I should think about it.
Yes.
I'm going to do a lot of research and try to do more learning with regard to this issue.
Well, we have to move to our final segment, the one that gets me on my feet, the celebrity spot. And we have
Celebrity Spotlight.
Yes, and we have someone interesting today.
And I say I like this man very much. There's a lot to
Hope you just like him.
Enjoy from his music.
Yes.
Timmy, please sing that song. Do you remember?
Which one is it? Baba. Oh.
You didn't remember.
I'm not a good,
I wanted to catch you. I wanted you to fumble. I wanted you to fumble.
I may not be a good singer, but come on. I remember the song.
That's actually one of my favorite songs. Baba, something like that.
Well, she is not a good singer also. So
who told you that?
Well,
let me hear me sing it when I come back.
Celebrity spot coming your way. Sonny Badu. That's the person we have been talking about. Enjoy it.
Sonny Badu began his ministry at a very young age, singing in his hometown of Accra, Ghana. Sonny was raised under a strict Christian upbringing. It was this discipline that would establish his lifelong passion of service to the Lord. Although Sonny had been a worship leader from his youth, to all who knew him, football was his gift. However, any hopes of international football success were soon eclipsed when the Lord began to turn his heart in his hands. At 18 years of age, while at Ghana Secondary Technical School, GSTS, Sonny was attacked by a mysterious infection that had virtually pronounced him dead. It was in this time he made a promise to follow God if he would spare his life. His life was spared. After GSTS, Sonny moved to London to pursue his promise to God, which is to serve God all the day of his life. This love was to be exhibited through music. So he schooled in the music at Lewis Arm College, after which the worshipper, as he is popularly known, was born. On the 1st December 2007, his debut album, Lost in Glory, was released. The African multiple award-winning international gospel singer-songwriter is an influential figure in African gospel music. He is also known for his work as a philanthropist, businessman, motivational speaker, and author. He is arguably the most flourishing gospel export emerging out of Africa in recent years, one of the most consistent popular live acts in the world. Sonny has been to almost every corner of the world and is high on every best worship list. His unique blend of intimate worship, high-quality visuals, and his energetic style of ushering congregations into the presence of God has affected lives worldwide. He has already sung along the likes of international gospel artists such as Sissy and Bibi Winers, Wanisa Bynum, Ken Burrell, Israel Houghton, Ty Tribbett, Tasha Cobbs, Donnie McClurkin, Muyiwa, Byron Cage, Leonard Peterson, Ron Kennelly, Judy Jacobs, just to name a few. Being listed as number 57 in the top 100 most influential Ghanaians of all time, he was recently honored as the most outstanding Ghanaians in diaspora in the Netherlands and also listed in the top 11 most influential Ghanaians abroad. He has lots of awards to his name. Sonny Badu acknowledges that it is an honor and privilege to stand and lead God's children in the art of spiritual intimacy. This is the grace, it said, has made way for him to lead worship for T.D. Jakes, Bishop Tudor Bismarck, Papa Ayo Orisha Jaffo, Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo, Pastor E.A. Adeboye, Pastor Kingsley Apiagie, Bishop David Oyedepo, and other men of God. Sonny is endowed with writing skill that has culminated into authoring 6 best-selling Christian books. Sonny Badu also runs a charity project, Thy Dwelling Place Orphanage, with the primary task of helping to improve the lives of the less privileged, especially in Africa. Currently in the UK gospel industry, he's happily married to Anne-Marie, and they both reside in London.
That was Sonny Badu on Celebrity Sports, and Chichi hasn't allowed me have a little bit of rest since we went on Celebrity Sports. Being Sonny Badu all over the place.
I said I was going to sing.
No, please, I don't want you to sing. Not now. Maybe after
Okay, Terry doesn't want me to sing, so not even for now.
Maybe after we end the show, behind cameras, you may actually, so that I'll judge you. When I judge you, then maybe you come in front of camera the next time, so that you won't get thumbs down.
You know, sometimes when you get acquainted with the biographies of some of these gospel artists and other artists as well, you get inspired. For example, Sonny Badu, at a very young age, he suffered from an unknown ailment.
Yes,
it was
yes,
mentioned,
yes.
and he almost died. And then when he survived, he made up his mind that from that very moment he was going to be a worship leader. And just imagine somebody that was dead and came back alive, or maybe not really dead, but like close to death and came back alive. He decided at that point to dedicate all his life to the service of God through music. I think that's an inspiring story.
Wonderful. And to think that music wasn't even what he actually had interest in growing up. He wanted to be a footballer, but along the line, he also had music, and music became his calling. It's a wonderful story. Before he relocated to the UK, and now he's a major name in the gospel music industry. He has collaborated with lots of gospel artists in the UK, in the United States, from Ty Tribbett to CC and BB Winans.
Oh yes.
Lots of them.
Donny McClurkin. Actually, it's an experience, a whole different experience entirely.
I'm telling you.
You know, an African like him from Ghana, you know, just traveling all over the world and making a difference in the gospel music scene.
It's awesome.
I think that's great.
It's awesome. And to you out there, it should be an encouragement, but you shouldn't have to wait till you get to a point of death before you actually take up that particular, how would I put it now, take up that decision that you would follow God or serve Him for the rest of your life. He's God, He's the Creator. Always know that you should have Him in your life. If you don't have Jesus in your life, well, I'm beginning to preach, right? But if you don't have Jesus in your life, seriously, you should embrace Him. You should embrace Him.
Well, I think we have to go. I think it's high time we took our leave of the studio. But do remember to always follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram,
YouTube channel.
Oh yes, on YouTube channel.
So,
and call us as well. You can call us. We have all the information that you require right on the screen of your TV set.
So it's time to bow out, and next time we'll be coming your way with more exciting episodes of Arise Africa. For now, it's bye from me and Chichi.
Goodbye.